12, Nicky Wagner.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister of Arts, Culture and Heritage, what has the government done to encourage private philanthropy in the cultural sector?
The Honourable
Mr. Speaker, last year the government established a cultural philanthropy task force to investigate new opportunities to encourage private investment in the arts in New Zealand over the next 5 to 10 years. The task force reported back on 2 December. The government will now analyse and consider its recommendations before making decisions.
Nicky Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister of Arts, Culture and Heritage, what does private philanthropy fit into the government's vision of the arts?
The Honourable
Mr. Speaker, to quote the task force itself, the government has done its bit directly through grants and indirectly through establishing a favourable tax environment for charitable giving that requires very little refinement. Government support can only ever be one part of an overall strategy for the sector. So the task force investigated best practice in philanthropy around the world. It consulted within New Zealand with organisations and individuals. Could Mr. Cagle shut up when I'm speaking?
Order.
Well, I'm trying to deal with an important matter, and throughout the answer he's just been bellowing like an oaf.
Order. 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 Now look, the House will come to order. I guess, interjections can get responses, so members interjecting do take risks, but ask the member, please, to finish his answer without being unnecessarily reactive.
Well, if the interjections were directed
Order,
at me,
the member, please.
The task
Point
force...
of order. Point of order.
Point of order, the Honourable Darren.
Mr. Speaker, the first transgression that the Minister made was to be aggressively gratuitous, and you pulled him up on that. When my colleague Mr. Mallard was interjected on you, he withdrew from the chamber. But once you'd given your ruling, the Minister, unable to let the issue go, had to have another little chip as he began his answer in direct challenge to your ruling. And when other members have challenged your ruling today, sir, they haven't remained with us.
In fairness, I've got to say, I think the degree of challenge to the chair was somewhat greater earlier on. But I would ask the Minister, when members interject, the Ministers are perfectly liberty to pick up on their interjections, but I'd ask the Minister, please just finish his answer without further comment.
So the task force consulted within New Zealand with a number of organisations. It consulted around the world, and it drew on the extensive expertise of task force members like Dale Mace and Dame Jenny Gibbs.
Rahui Katane.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is the Minister aware of the statement by Tu Williams and David Robinson that in the broader society, Māori today are virtually invisible in philanthropy, in part because the philanthropic sector has failed to market itself as relevant to them, and what will the government do to correct this gap?
The Honourable Chris Finlayson.
No, I'm not, but I can understand where that particular person is coming from, and that is the very reason why we have this report and why I'm keen to get it out there so that people can actually, in a very positive way, contribute to philanthropy.
That brings to a close questions for oral answer.
Point of order. Point of order.
I beg your pardon. Point of order, Materia Ture.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I just want to seek your clarification about an intervention that occurred earlier in question time around